Hi, I'm going to jump right into it. So, the future of e-commerce. Let me tell you all about it. So, in my humble opinion, the future of e-commerce is commerce. And that's for a number of different reasons, starting here. So commerce itself is as old as civilization, older than civilization, depending on who you reference. In terms of human beings exchanging things, trading value, and connecting with each other through this thing called commerce. And it's ever evolving and continuing to evolve. So I would say that e-commerce is sort of a stop on a larger journey for human beings and for consumers and sellers of things. So these are the three reasons, and these are the things I'm going to tell you about today and give you some examples of, and then you can ask me some questions about it. So the three things are the integration of online and offline, which some of our other speakers have talked a bit about. Etienne's talk was sort of the perfect segue into this, so thank you for that. The second is the rise of experience-driven brands, which I'm going to tell you about. I'm a brand strategist, so I have lots to say. And then, of course, finally, the growth of borderless commerce. So commerce that exists beyond just within your own community or within your own country or city. The first one, has anyone heard of Reformation as a company? Great. So Reformation is a new sort of approach to retail and to commerce, and it sort of brought back the IRL experience of retail and commerce. Going into a Reformation store looks quite fancy, but what they've done is really wonderfully integrated an online store, an in-store experience with an online experience. Where you go into the store, they don't have size runs. You actually have to talk to the people who work there and tell them when you're interested in something. And they'll start a change room for you. You tell them your size. And then they also have these giant iPads, basically, where you can actually shop their online store in the store. And there are elements in the online store that aren't in the store itself, so you sort of have to go there if you want to see the full array. And then they have all of these things sent to your change room. And then they have iPads in the change room, so if you need a different size, you just order it, close the little cubby, and your clothes appear behind the doors, you reopen them. So what they've done really well, and what's happening across retail in general, is this integration of the e-commerce experience, the online experience, with the physical in-store experience as well. Other retailers like Rebecca Minkoff, Steve Madden, Best Buy are all doing this as well. Okay, the next thing is experience. And experience is the thing that matters to brands, or brands that are doing really well when it comes to engaging their consumers are the ones that are moving beyond advertising and starting to build out experiences. You're all marketers. I'm sure you've heard about like the experience economy or the power of experience. So a Qualtrics survey recently said that 80% of consumers will switch brands if they're not getting a good experience. And that is basically what this is. And Starbucks is probably the originator of this idea of the experience economy and selling an experience versus selling a commodity. Another good and very recent example that happened yesterday is Toys R Us. So Toys R Us declared bankruptcy in 2017. Yesterday, they opened their first new retail store since that bankruptcy, and it is built around experiences. It's much smaller. It's not like the warehouse. If you've ever been to Toys R Us, you know, you go in there and it's like, this is not the dream I thought I was going to enter. They've actually built the dream here where it's much smaller store. You get experiences in the store. They build out play spaces and different things that you can do. They have actual spaces for brands, so toy brands, to activate in their spaces. So they've actually built their entire new strategy around creating experiences for their customers and again, sort of building out what commerce can be and is, and making it more human. And then finally, global commerce. So I think if you shop online, you've seen this, especially if you live in Canada. And it's the most beautiful thing you see when you enter a website, because it's like, oh my God, I can actually buy the things on this website. So this is a part of a growing trend where more and more stores and more retailers in the e-commerce space are able to sell to people outside of their communities, outside of the countries that they work in or live in. Shopify as a company has an entire ecosystem of partners that are there to make this easier for our merchants. where you can reach out to experts who help make shipping easier for you, help make billing, taxing, duties. Duties are the most annoying thing. So there's an entire ecosystem, and it's across platforms. Of course, Shopify does, and I would say we do it the best, but across platforms where you have partners. I feel like I'm going to get the 1 minute sign. Where you can work with partners who can help you make this easier. And what it's actually doing is making it easier for small scale retailers and e-commerce merchants to scale globally really quickly and really effectively. So really at the end of the day, I think I'm going to hit this 5-minute mark, is that through these three things, and so many other things, but through these three things, commerce is continuing to evolve. It's continuing to sort of forge relationships across communities, across borders, and it's more and more becoming this human experience, or returning to what is a very human experience. And that's essential and important because at Shopify, but I think as a marketer myself, I think commerce is an important force for good in the world. It is something that allows people to connect with each other. It builds economies, it builds communities, and it builds connection. And that is so important. So e-commerce, commerce, wonderful thing that continues to evolve.
Before we get to the audience, tell me, how long have you been at Shopify?
Just over a year. Yeah.
What made you come?
The brand opportunity. I'm a brand strategist, so building this kind of brand was exciting.
What's the most exciting thing that you do every day for brands?
Oh God, figure it out. The only brand I work on is Shopify, and I currently work with our partner ecosystem that I talked about. And that is like a really, really exciting place in the commerce space, just in terms of the types of apps and services that are being built out on our platform for our customers.
Question. Who has a question?
Covered it all.
Sure. Shut it up.
Thank you. So when are you going to start with the Shopify fulfillment services?
So I'm not my area of expertise, but I will say that the fulfillment network is being launched, or has been launched. Oh, in Canada. You know what? I ask that question every day. I don't know the answer. Hopefully soon. It would be my response. I don't know. We are really focused on helping our merchants do better and make it easier for them to ship. So I would assume that it's coming soon. Yeah.
Hi. Thank you. So it sounds like Shopify was really built to help smaller merchants grow their businesses. How can big merchants or big, fast-moving consumer goods, how can they jump on this bandwagon and get involved?
In e-commerce?
E-commerce.
Okay. Well, we have an offering called Shopify Plus, and that is for larger, more complex businesses. And really what it's about is signing up, getting in touch. I'm sure anyone at Shopify would say and agree with me that anyone can move into the e-commerce space, large retailers especially, and should if they're not already. It's just about doing it in a smart way and choosing the right partners. Shopify.
Hi. So in terms of building these experiences, right? I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense. But from a brand's perspective, what are some of the requirements on partners you need from your experience at Shopify? What sort of partners you need in-house or external technical capabilities? What is the starting point to carve out a plan to build an experience as a brand? What are the starting steps?
So I would say brand strategy. I'm biased, but what I honestly think is that what you have to do is take a look at your brand, take a look at what you offer, really understand your audience and the people who you're trying to serve, and then try to figure out what are the things that matter most to them, and look at your entire customer journey. So from the moment they start to think about you and notice you, all the way through all of the many touch points, from chatting with you to going into a store. They might go into a store and not buy something, but they're starting to feel out the experience. you're a consumer. Anyone who works in marketing is also a consumer. Think about the experiences that you've had with brands and the places where you felt friction, and start to solve for those things within your brand. Like, every element of the experience matters, every single thing. So customer service, support, like every element of your brand, every touch point, anytime a consumer is engaging with your brand, you're supposed to be giving them a consistent experience that's backed up by whatever your reason for being is in the world. It's me just preaching the gospel. Sorry, guys. I feel very strongly about this.
Chantaie, thank you for your presentation. I'm a brand strategist as well, and it's one of my work purposes to elevate brands from the category cliches that exist in the industry that they operate in, and I help commodity brands sort of move across that spectrum that you showed from a commodity to experience, and that's one of the variety of challenges that I'm also facing, is the fact that, and I want to know your opinion as to how much weightage you would put in social commerce when it comes to path to purchase, because again, like one of the clients that I'm working on is sort of has a lot of reputation that's influenced by word of mouth, and I'd love to know, given the mistrust with the influencer marketing right now, how much weightage you would put into social commerce when it comes to e-commerce.
So I would, tell me if I'm interpreting this wrong, but I would separate social commerce from influencer marketing, because I think social commerce is actually amazing, because what it is you tapping into a relationship you already have, and engaging directly via social to sell something. Influencer marketing is a little different because it's about leveraging someone else's audience to sell your thing, and I'm more skeptical of influencer marketing than I am of social commerce, because I think social commerce is a natural thing that happens, especially as part of a global e-commerce company. We are seeing the growth of social commerce in the ways in which people, especially in developing countries, are selling via WhatsApp. But they're selling those things via WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever it happens to be, because they have relationships with people, like IRL, in real life relationships with people. So that notion of the experience economy is really grounded also in the notion of relationships. So I think if you have a strong relationship with your audience or your consumers, you're going to be able to sell socially quite easily, or adapt and move into selling socially quite easily. Leveraging influencers is a whole other thing. I think it can be successful, but it's about choosing the right influencers and people who, again, align with what your brand is trying to do in the world.
Thank you. I was just actually very curious. You did mention that the future of e-commerce is commerce and bringing that whole thing back to experience, but your photo shows brick and mortar. And, you know, even if I just think about myself and my experience with this mic, I'm holding it, it's comfortable, the sound sounds great, but that is like in this physical, in the moment, in the present, right? But how does Shopify, an e-commerce platform, help with that? I'm just trying to see the connection.
Yeah. We're a commerce platform. So we do offer like retail offerings, but I would say like I think a better answer to your question, and tell me if this is wrong, is the fact that like IRL experiences still matter. And that's basically what I'm saying. But what I'm also saying is that digital experiences enhance those IRL experiences and are opportunities to grow your relationship with your customer. Because at the end of the day, as marketers, if you're going to be successful, you have to build a relationship. And what digital allows you to do, and what e-commerce allows you to do, is to add depth and nuance to the relationship that you have with people, so that you're like, yes, you have an in real life tangible experience through the things that you're buying, but you also have those physical moments and experiences through digital.
Physical and digital availability is the same thing. They come together. Thank you very much. That's amazing. Awesome. Okay.